Imagine you're walking through your own living room, right? But you're carrying this massive, heavy backpack.
Oh, I like this visual.
Yeah, and like this backpack isn't filled with anything useful. No camping gear, no snacks. It's just
Well,
filled with rocks.
it's weighing you down.
Exactly. And every single rock is it's an old argument or like a slight from a family member, maybe a grudge you've been keeping warm for, I don't know, 5 years.
Right.
You can't relax on your couch with that on. You can't sleep comfortably. And you definitely can't invite anyone over to hang out because this heavy, awkward backpack is, constantly knocking over the lamps.
It's destroying the house.
Yeah. So for the week of March 30 to April 5, 2026, the cosmic weather is pointing directly at you, Cancer, and the message is loud and clear. It is time to take the backpack off. So welcome back to Horoscope TV.
That is just a really brilliant way to picture it, because when we analyze the astrological charts for this specific week, the energy is completely divided.
Divided how?
Well, it's split between the private world inside your house and the public world outside your door. But you can't handle the outside world until you drop that heavy load indoors.
Right. I mean, it all comes back to the symbol for your sign, right? The crab.
Yes, exactly.
The crab has that hard shell for a reason.
Yeah.
It's a mobile home, like a fortress.
A very protective fortress.
Yeah, and if the inside of that shell is full of sharp rocks and, old resentments, the crab isn't going to feel safe anywhere.
No, of course not.
And if you don't feel safe, you aren't walking out onto the busy beach to look for opportunities. You're just going to bury yourself in the sand.
And this week, burying yourself is really the last thing you want to do.
Because there's good stuff happening outside, right?
Oh, absolutely. While there is this strong, demanding pull to fix things at home, the outside world is lining up some incredibly profitable and, exciting opportunities for you.
Wow. Okay, so we want those.
We definitely want those. But to grab them, we have to look at how this week begins. The very first major event on the charts is a full moon on April 2.
Okay, let's break down what a full moon actually does. Because I think
Right.
a lot of people just see a bright circle in the sky and think, oh, pretty.
Right. They just think it's nice to look at.
Yeah. But astrologically, what is the actual mechanism there?
Well, astrologically, a full moon is a moment of total illumination. It happens when the sun and the moon are directly opposite each other in the sky.
Okay.
So the sun's light is fully reflecting off the moon's surface. Think of it like someone walking into a dark, dusty attic and flipping on a pair of massive stadium floodlights.
Oh, wow. That's bright.
Exactly. Everything that was hidden in the shadows, every cobweb, every forgotten box is suddenly completely visible. You just can't ignore it anymore.
So on April 2, where are those stadium floodlights pointing for a Cancer?
They're pointing directly into your home and family life, and this specific full moon happens in the sign of Libra.
Now, hold on, because this is where the astrological charts get a little tricky for me.
How so?
Well, Libra is an air sign,
Yep.
right? It's all about intellect, conversation, and fairness. It's like the wind.
That's right.
But Cancer is a water sign. You live in your feelings. You experience the world through these deep, powerful emotions.
Very deep.
So how does that windy air energy of Libra actually mix with the deep waters of Cancer? Isn't that just like a recipe for a hurricane in the living room?
I mean, it's not exactly a hurricane, but it absolutely creates waves. Think about what happens when wind blows across the surface of a quiet lake.
It gets choppy.
Right. The water can't stay flat and still. It gets stirred up. So the Libra energy is going to stir up your family dynamics.
Because air signs want to talk, right?
Exactly. Air signs want to put things on the table, negotiate, and find a fair balance. But water signs, especially Cancers, tend to feel things silently.
You just absorb it.
You absorb the hurt, you pull it into your shell, and you hold on to it.
You put another rock in the backpack.
Yes. You put another rock in the backpack. But the wind of this Libra full moon is pushing you to finally open your mouth and speak.
Which is hard.
It is.
Yeah.
But it's forcing you to look at the family problems you've swept under the rug and actually, deal with them.
Let's explore what emotional baggage really looks like for a Cancer, because I know every sign hold on to things, but Cancers seem to do it as like a form of self-preservation.
Oh, completely.
It's almost like a museum of old hurts.
It is a museum, and you are the very protective curator. For a Cancer, holding on to a grudge is rarely about being mean.
Right, it's not malicious.
No, it's about protection. Because you care so deeply and your heart is so soft, getting hurt by a family member feels like a massive betrayal.
Like the ultimate letdown.
Yeah. If a sibling mocked your career choice 5 years ago, Or if a parent favored your brother when you were teenagers, you remember how that felt.
You never forget it.
You hold on to that memory as a warning label. The label says, do not trust them completely. They will hurt you again.
But the problem with keeping that museum open is that it takes all your energy to guard it. Like you're constantly patrolling the hallways of your own past.
Which leaves you totally exhausted in the present. The Astra data for April 2 is basically begging you to close the museum.
Libra wants peace, right?
Libra wants peace and harmony in the home. You cannot have a harmonious home if you're silently keeping score of things that happened a decade ago.
It's impossible.
Right. It's time to have those balanced, fair conversations.
Okay, but what does that conversation actually sound like? Because Cancer might be afraid that bringing it up will just, start a new fight.
Well, it doesn't have to be a fight if you use that Libra energy. Libra is the diplomat.
That's so smooth talking.
Exactly. It sounds like saying, hey, I realize I've been carrying around some hurt feelings about what happened last Thanksgiving, and I want to clear the air so we can just move forward.
Oh, that's very calm.
It's not about screaming. It's about releasing the pressure valve.
Hmm.
And sometimes, this is important, you might not even need to have the conversation with the person.
Wait, really? How does that work?
Sometimes the full moon just requires you to sit in your room, acknowledge the rock in your backpack, and decide to throw it away yourself.
Just let it go internally.
Yes. Forgive them in your own heart so you can make your shell comfortable again.
Wow. And once you throw those rocks away, your backpack is empty. Your shell is clean.
And suddenly you have room.
Yeah, you actually have room to invite other people inside, which flows beautifully into what the charts are saying about your social life and your romantic life.
It's a perfect transition.
Because right before that full moon on March 30, there's a big planetary shift.
There is. On March 30, the planet Venus moves into the sign of Taurus.
Okay, let's analyze Venus and Taurus together. Venus is the planet that rules what we love, what we value, and how we connect with people.
Right, the love planet.
And Taurus is an earth sign. It's grounded, it loves comfort, it loves good food, and it's incredibly loyal.
So when you put the planet of love into the sign of comfort, it creates a very warm, supportive blanket of energy.
That sounds amazing.
It is. And for you, Cancer, this movement happens in your social sector. Your friendship circle is going to feel incredibly supportive.
That sounds like an absolute dream for a water sign.
Right.
Like you don't want friends who are constantly dragging you to loud, flashing nightclubs.
Definitely not.
You want friends who want to sit on a comfortable couch, eat high-quality takeout, and just talk about real things.
And that is exactly the vibe Venus and Taurus brings. It is reliable. If a friend says they're going to come over and bring pizza, they actually show up with the pizza.
Which is huge.
It is. That reliability is so healing for your nervous system.
So how does this warm pizza on the couch energy translate to romance? Let's talk about Cancers who are already in a relationship first.
If you're partnered, this week is a golden opportunity to strengthen your foundation. You have that Libra full moon on April 2 pushing for fairness and partnership, right?
Right.
And that's combined with Venus and Taurus making things feel cozy and secure. After you clear out whatever family baggage is bothering you, the atmosphere becomes very gentle.
Very soft.
Yes, it is the perfect time to sit down with your partner, maybe over a really good home-cooked meal, and talk about your shared dreams.
Not just like, what are we doing this weekend, but bigger things. Like, where do we want to live in 5 years?
Exactly. Or how are we saving our money? Are we happy with the way our home feels?
Building a solid future.
Taurus loves to build things slowly and carefully, brick by brick. You and your partner can lay down some really strong bricks for your future this week.
I love that.
Yeah.
But what if you're a single Cancer? Are you just eating the pizza by yourself? What do the astrological charts show for singles?
Oh, single Cancers actually have a fantastic chart right now. That March 30 shift of Venus into Taurus is your moment.
Okay, good.
But the key here is understanding where this energy is happening. It's lighting up your friendship and community areas.
Which means what, practically?
This means you are highly likely to meet someone special, but it's not going to be a random stranger at a coffee shop.
Right.
And it is definitely not going to be a wild swipe on a dating app.
That makes total sense. Because a Cancer wants safety. A random stranger on an app has zero safety guaranteed.
Exactly zero.
So where is this person coming from?
They are coming through your existing network. It will be a mutual friend or maybe someone you meet at a small gathering hosted by someone you already trust.
Like your best friend invites you to a small dinner party and their coworkers there.
Yes, exactly. Because your friend has already invited them, they are pre-vetted.
Oh, that's smart.
Your friend has essentially said, this person is safe enough to be in my house. That allows your inner crab to relax its claws a little bit.
Because the guard is down.
Right. You feel comfortable opening up because the environment is already warm and familiar.
That sounds incredibly promising.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at the charts here, and the weather isn't completely sunny all week. There is a massive bump in the road.
Yes, there is.
And it happens on April 3.
April 3 is a day that requires a serious warning label. This is the day Venus squares Pluto.
Let's unpack that terminology. A square in astrology. We're talking about two planets that are forming a harsh 90-degree angle to each other in the sky.
Think of it like a four-way traffic intersection. Two cars are arriving at the intersection at the exact same time from different directions.
And neither one wants to stop.
Right. Neither one wants to hit the brakes. It creates immediate friction, stress, and a massive clash of energy.
And the two planets crashing into each other are Venus and Pluto. We already know Venus wants love, harmony, and nice things, but Pluto's a heavy hitter.
Pluto is the planet of the underworld. It governs the things we bury deep in the dirt.
The dark stuff.
Yes. It rules power dynamics, control, intense secrets, and very dark emotions like jealousy and obsession.
Oh boy.
When Venus, the planet of relationships, crashes into Pluto, all those buried, dark feelings suddenly bubble up to the surface.
Okay, I have to push back here. Because when I think of a Cancer, I think of someone who is nurturing, gentle, and caring. They're the mom friend.
Usually, yes.
So feeling sudden, intense, dark jealousy seems completely out of character. Like it just doesn't fit the profile.
It might seem out of character on the surface, but remember how a water sign operates? You feel everything profoundly.
Very true.
And because your primary goal in life is to feel secure, any threat to that security triggers a massive internal alarm. Pluto is going to hit that alarm button.
Give me an example of how that alarm goes off in real life. Like, how does this play out?
Okay, let's say you're at one of those small gatherings with friends. Your partner, or maybe a friend you are very close to, starts spending a lot of time laughing and talking with someone else.
A new person.
Right, a new person. Normally, you might not care, but under a Venus-Pluto square, your brain starts to whisper to you.
What does it say?
It says, they're having more fun with them than they have with you. What if they like them better? What if you're being replaced?
Wow.
It's a deep, primal fear of losing your safe harbor.
So the jealousy isn't really about being controlling. It's about a terrifying fear of abandonment.
Precisely. But the danger is in how you react to that fear. Because when a Cancer feels insecure, they don't usually start yelling or, throw a drink in someone's face.
No, they retreat. The crab goes backward into the shell.
They retreat, but they do it loudly.
Loudly? How do you retreat loudly?
They give the silent treatment, they sigh heavily, they offer one-word answers. I'm fine, nothing's wrong, when clearly everything is wrong.
Ah, passive aggression. It's the ultimate weapon of a hurt water sign.
It really is.
You want the other person to read your mind and beg for your forgiveness without you having to actually explain what they did wrong.
And that passive-aggressive behavior is the absolute worst thing you can do on April 3. Pluto thrives in the dark.
It loves the silence.
Yes. If you refuse to speak your feelings, Pluto takes that silence and turns it into a toxic swamp. The resentment will multiply by 10.
So what's the actionable advice here? When that sudden wave of insecurity hits, and every instinct is telling the listener to shut down and be cold, what do they actually do?
You have to do something that feels very unnatural in the moment. You have to be vulnerable.
Oh, that's hard.
It is. You need to practice immense compassion for yourself. Recognize that this jealousy is just heavy planetary weather passing through. It's a storm, not your permanent reality.
Right. It will pass.
The astrological charts demand open, honest talk to break the tension.
How do you say that without sounding crazy? Like, hey, I'm irrationally jealous right now.
You speak the truth, but you keep it gentle. You pull your partner or your friend aside and say, hey, I know this might sound silly, but I'm feeling really insecure right now.
Just owning it.
Yes.
Yeah.
My brain is telling me you don't want to hang out with me. I just need a little reassurance.
Wow. Just putting it right out in the open.
The moment you say it out loud, Pluto loses its power. Pluto only has power over secrets.
So speaking it kills the secret.
Exactly. When you shine a light on the insecurity, it shrinks. They'll likely hug you, tell you that you're being silly, and the tension will evaporate. But if you sit in the corner giving the silent treatment, you will ruin the entire weekend.
Speak the ugly truth softly. I think that's a really powerful tool.
It saves relationships.
So if we follow this energy trail of Venus and Taurus, it actually leads us right into another area of your life. Because Venus doesn't just rule who you love, right? It rules what you value, which includes your money.
Yes, the financial charts for this week are extremely specific. We need to talk about protecting your wallet from your own heart.
Which is tough, because those two things are usually tangled up for a Cancer anyway.
Yeah.
Giving is how you show love.
They are completely tangled. And this week, a very strict, almost rigid approach to your budget is required.
Rigid.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound very Venus and Taurus.
Well, remember that Venus moving into Taurus on March 30 brings a strong desire for comfort and luxury. It also brings a huge temptation to spend big money on your friends.
Because you want to show them how much you value them.
Exactly.
I can totally see that happening. You feel all this warm, supportive energy from your friends, and you think, I love these guys. Let's get the expensive wine. Dinner is on me.
Yep, you want to treat them.
Or you see a beautiful, expensive candle and think, oh, Sarah would love this. I'm just going to buy it for her.
And it comes from a beautiful place. You want to nurture them, but you have to look at the danger of short-term spending versus long-term security.
Reality check.
Yes. The astro data clearly shows that cosmic energies want you to focus on the long game right now.
Meaning the electric bill that comes due next week.
Yes. If you spend all your extra cash trying to play the generous host on Friday night, you are going to wake up on Monday morning feeling incredibly stressed.
And for a Cancer, financial instability feels like a literal crack in the shell.
It does.
If your bank account is low, you just don't feel physically safe.
So you have to protect the shell by keeping the credit card in your pocket. But the charts go further than just telling you not to buy expensive wine.
Uh-oh.
What is it?
There is a very firm warning here. The golden rule for the week.
Okay, lay it on us.
This might be the most important piece of advice in the entire analysis, based strictly on the charts. Do not, under any circumstances, lend money to friends this week. Whoa. That is a hard boundary. Under any circumstances.
Absolutely none.
Let's analyze the psychology of why that's so dangerous right now. Because if a friend comes to a Cancer crying because their car broke down and they can't afford the mechanic, the Cancer's immediate biological urge is to help.
Of course. They want to fix the pain.
So why is handing over the cash such a bad idea?
Because mixing money and friendship under these specific chart conditions will permanently destroy the relationship.
Permanently.
Let's play out the scenario. You lend them $500 for the car. You do it out of love. But the astrological weather right now is very tense regarding debts and boundaries.
Okay, so a week goes by and they don't pay it back.
A week goes by, then 2 weeks. And during that time, you see them post a picture on social media of a nice dinner they just bought.
Oh, no.
Or you see them walking into work with a brand new, expensive coffee.
I can feel the resentment building already. My blood pressure is going up just hearing that.
Your feelings will be deeply, deeply hurt. Not just because of the money, but because of what the money represents.
It's symbolic.
Exactly. To you, lending the money was an act of profound care. Them not prioritizing paying you back feels like they do not care about you.
You start keeping score. You think, I sacrificed my own feeling of safety to help you, and you are buying lattes.
And because you're a Cancer, you probably won't demand the money back aggressively.
No, you won't say a word.
You will just build a massive wall of resentment. Every time you look at them, you'll feel bitter. The urge to nurture them will curdle into anger.
That's so toxic.
It will turn into an ugly, silent grudge. The friendship will never be the same.
You'll just add another rock to the backpack.
Exactly. So to protect the friendship, you must protect your wallet. You have to find a way to say no.
But how do you say no to a crying friend without feeling like an absolute monster?
You blame the budget. You say, I love you and I am so sorry you are going through this. I wish I could help, but I do not have it in my budget to lend money right now.
That's a great script.
And then you say, can I help you look up some cheaper mechanics or give you a ride to work? You offer emotional support, not financial support.
That is fantastic advice.
Yeah.
You preserve the boundary and the friendship. But I want to turn the page here because it's not all bad news regarding money, right?
No, not at all.
If we look at Sunday, April 5, the charts show a really interesting financial spark.
April 5 is a major bright spot. On this day, Venus connects with the North Node.
Okay, let's explain what the North Node is because it's not a planet like Venus or Mars.
No, it's a mathematical point in space related to the orbit of the moon. In astrological charts, the North Node represents your destiny.
Destiny, that's a big word.
It is. It's the compass needle pointing toward your future growth, your ultimate life path. When Venus, which governs money and value, aligns perfectly with this point of destiny, a very profitable door can swing open.
So are we talking about finding a $100 bill on the sidewalk or winning the lottery?
No, this is much more grounded than that. The charts indicate this opportunity will come through a work contact or professional networking.
So it's tied to your career path.
Yes.
Yeah.
You might be at an industry event or even just chatting in the break room, and someone mentions they're looking for a person with your exact skills.
Oh, that's perfect timing.
Or maybe an old boss reaches out on LinkedIn.
How does the listener prepare for this? Because destiny is great, but you have to meet it halfway, right?
You prepare by making sure your tools are sharp. Keep your eyes and ears open around your professional circles. Don't tune out during work lunches this week.
Pay attention.
Yes, and most importantly, make sure your resume is completely updated.
Have it ready to go.
Exactly. If someone says, send me your resume, you don't want to say, give me a week to work on it. You want to send it that afternoon. If the door opens on April 5, you need to be packed and ready to walk through it.
Which brings us to the actual workplace. Because before we get to the weekend opportunity, you have to survive the work week. And looking at the charts, the ocean is looking pretty choppy at the office.
Very choppy. March 31, which is a Tuesday, brings some incredibly tricky planetary energy to your career sector.
Let's get specific about the flavor of this tricky energy. Are we talking about technology breaking down, like the printer catching on fire, or is this a human problem?
It's definitely a human problem combined with a roadblock problem. You are going to face sudden, frustrating delays in group projects.
The worst.
You might find that coworkers are dragging their feet, missing deadlines, or just not pulling their weight.
That's so annoying. But I see an even bigger warning sign here about clients.
Yes, you are highly likely to encounter a very difficult client or maybe a stubborn authority figure on March 31st.
What kind of difficult?
This is someone who simply refuses to understand what you're saying, no matter how clearly or politely you explain it.
Oh, that is maddening. When you explain a process step by step, and they just stare at you and say, but why can't we just do it my way?
Exactly. And because you are already dealing with the emotional weight of that approaching full moon, your patience is going to be incredibly thin.
The crab claws are going to come out.
The urge to snap at them, to use those claws, will be very strong.
So how does a Cancer handle a brick wall client on Tuesday without getting fired?
The Astro data insists on extreme patience. You have to realize that you cannot force this river to flow faster. If you try to push them, they will push back harder.
So what's the alternative?
Instead, rely on your superpower, your intuition.
How does intuition fix a stubborn client? I mean, they're just being stubborn.
Well, as a water sign, you are brilliant at reading the emotional undercurrents of a room. If a client is being difficult and stubborn about a project deadline, use your intuition to figure out what they are actually afraid of.
Find the root cause.
Yes. Are they afraid of looking bad to their boss? Are they insecure about the technology? Address the hidden fear, not the surface argument.
So instead of arguing about the spreadsheet, you say, it sounds like you want to make absolutely sure your team feels confident with this before we move forward. I totally get that.
Exactly. You validate their hidden emotion. It disarms them completely. Most importantly, do not lose your temper. Retreating is better than reacting on March 34.
Because if you just keep your head down and survive this storm on Tuesday, you get a massive reward later in the week. Let's talk about Friday, April 3.
The energy shifts dramatically on April 3. We see a beautiful flowing connection between Mercury and Jupiter.
This is an amazing combination. Let's analyze these two planets. Mercury is the messenger. It rules the mind, how we think, how we speak, emails, presentations, basically the exchange of information.
And Jupiter is the giant of the solar system. It is the planet of growth, luck, optimism, and expansion. Jupiter takes whatever it touches and makes it bigger and better.
So when the planet of communication shakes hands with the planet of expansion, what does that do to a Cancer's brain?
It gives you a massive boost of intellectual confidence. You suddenly see the big picture. All those quiet, innovative ideas you have been privately thinking about inside your shell.
Yeah.
This is the day to bring them out into the light.
So this is the day to raise your hand in the meeting.
Yes. This is the day to pitch your grand vision to the bosses. Do not hold back. Because of this specific planetary connection, the people in charge are primed to hear big ideas.
They actually want to hear it.
They will be incredibly receptive. They will see your ideas as visionary and forward-thinking.
That is a wild roller coaster for 1 week. I mean, on Tuesday, you're biting your tongue to keep from yelling at a client. And by Friday, you're standing at the head of the boardroom pitching the new company strategy.
And your team will love it too. Your natural, nurturing leadership style will make them feel inspired rather than bossed around. You will shine as a guide.
Honestly, I'm exhausted just talking about this schedule. Dealing with old family baggage, dodging jealousy traps, protecting the budget, managing difficult clients, and pitching grand visions.
It's a lot.
That takes a physical toll. We have to talk about how the body handles this because a Cancer's physical health is so closely tied to their emotional state.
They are essentially the same thing for you. If a fire sign gets stressed, they might just want to go for a run to burn it off.
Right, sweat it out.
But if a water sign gets stressed, your stomach actually hurts. If your mind is racing with anxiety, your physical joints ache. You absorb the emotional weather around you like a sponge.
And this week, there are two major astrological events that are going to wring that sponge completely dry. Let's go back to that April 2 full moon. Moons are notorious for messing with our body.
They really are. The gravitational pull, the intense light, the sheer volume of emotional energy being released, it is highly likely to ruin your sleep pattern.
You're talking about lying awake at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, replaying a conversation from 5 years ago.
Exactly. Or just a restless, tossing and turning kind of sleep where you wake up feeling like you ran a marathon.
The worst.
And the consequence of that is waking up groggy on April 3. When a Cancer is sleep-deprived, your emotional skin becomes paper-thin.
Very sensitive.
A coworker might make a completely innocent joke, and because you are exhausted, it feels like a targeted insult.
You just lose your protective armor. And then, as if being tired isn't bad enough, the charts show a massive energy drain on Sunday, April 5. The Sun squares Jupiter.
We just talked about Jupiter being big, expansive, and optimistic. And the Sun represents your core vitality, your ego, your battery pack.
So when those two clash in a tense square, what happens?
It creates a false sense of limitless energy. You feel overly generous, you feel like Superman. It becomes dangerously easy to overcommit.
Let's use an analogy here. I was thinking about how this feels. Trying to please everyone under a Sun-Jupiter square is like a sudden flash flood in a dry riverbed.
Okay, I like that.
It's this massive rush of energy that looks really impressive for a minute, but it doesn't nourish the land. It just washes away all your topsoil and leaves you completely depleted and barren afterward.
That is a phenomenal way to describe it, because that is exactly how the day plays out. Your friend asks for help moving heavy furniture, and you say, sure.
Right.
Your neighbor asks you to bake 3 dozen cupcakes for a school event, and you say, no problem. Your partner wants to completely reorganize the garage, and you agree.
And by 4 p.m., the flash flood is over, the water is gone, and you collapse on the couch, physically shaking from total exhaustion.
You give away all your topsoil. So, we need to look at actionable wellness advice. What do the charts suggest to stop the flood and protect your physical body?
Yeah. How do we fight the sleep problem first?
You need to establish a very calm, deliberate bedtime routine, especially around the full moon. This is not the week to watch intense true crime documentaries or, doom scroll the news before bed.
You can't take the problems of the world into bed with you when you're already dealing with your own.
Precisely. You must avoid bright screens late at night. The blue light from your phone tricks your brain into thinking it's noon, making your busy mind race even faster.
So what should they do instead?
Read a physical paper book. Listen to instrumental music.
What about food? Because eating is such a core comfort mechanism for a Cancer.
Food is medicine for you this week. The charts strongly suggest eating healthy, warm, home-cooked food.
So skip the drive-thru.
Absolutely skip the fast food. The actual physical act of cooking, chopping the vegetables, smelling the broth, simmering on the stove is a grounding ritual.
It forces you to slow down.
It forces you to be in the present moment rather than worrying about the past or the future. Eating root vegetables, things that grow deep in the earth, will help anchor your watery energy.
I love the idea of making soup as a form of cosmic protection. It's like a shield made of broth.
That's a great way to think of it.
And speaking of protection, the astrodata gives us a very specific tool this week. A color.
Yes. Every week, the charts highlight a frequency that will aid your healing. This week, the color is silver. Specifically, the color code is hashtag C00000.
Silver. Why is silver the magic frequency for Cancer right now?
Silver is the metal and the color historically and astrologically associated with the moon. And the moon is your ruling celestial body.
Okay, that makes sense.
Silver is reflective. It is cooling. Think about placing a cool silver spoon on a swollen eye. It brings down the inflammation. Surrounding yourself with silver brings down your emotional inflammation. It promotes clarity and peace.
How should the listener use this? Do they need to go out and buy a shiny silver jacket?
You can wear silver jewelry, of course. A silver necklace or ring is a nice touchstone. But you can also just work with the imagery and the element of water. The charts suggest spending quiet time near water to reflect that silver light.
If you live near a lake or the ocean, just go sit on the shore at dusk. Watch the way the light hits the water.
Yes, watch the silver ripples. But if you are landlocked and don't have a lake, you can create this environment in your own home.
How so?
Take a long, undisturbed bath. Dim the lights. Imagine the water is infused with a cool, healing silver light. Let it physically wash the stress of the week, the difficult clients, the family baggage right down the drain.
A silver bath to refill the dry riverbed. That sounds so necessary.
Mhm.
Now, taking care of your energy is much easier when you know exactly who is going to hand you a towel and who is going to kick dirt into your bathwater.
Very true.
Let's talk about the people around you this week.
This is a crucial part of the analysis. The astrological charts show us very clearly who will act as an ally and who will actively clash with your energy.
Okay, let's give some quick lucky elements from the data first. Your lucky numbers to watch out for this week are 7, 12, 21, 34, 48, and 55.
Good to note.
And just as a quick reminder, your best dates to take action and make big moves are March 30 and April 3. But let's talk about the human elements. The charts say your best match this week is Capricorn.
Yes, Capricorn.
Let's deeply analyze why this specific sign is your greatest ally right now.
Capricorn is an earth sign. Think of them like a massive ancient mountain. They are solid, steady, pragmatic, and they don't move just because the wind blows.
Which is exactly what a Cancer needs when their emotions are tossing them around like a boat in a storm.
Capricorn provides the anchor. When you are busy navigating the complex, sometimes scary waters of your deep feelings, like crying over that old family baggage we discussed from the full moon, a Capricorn is not going to panic.
Right.
They are not going to cry with you.
Which is actually helpful. You don't need two people crying in the boat. You need one person to row.
Exactly. They step in with incredibly practical solutions. If you are stressed about the house, they will fix the leaky faucet. If you are panicked about the budget warning we talked about, they will sit down with a spreadsheet and organize your finances.
They fix things.
They show love by building structures that make you feel incredibly safe.
It's so interesting because Cancer and Capricorn are exact opposites on the zodiac wheel. Cancer is soft, emotional, and maternal. Capricorn is strict, logical, and paternal. But they work so well together.
Because opposites on the wheel often share the exact same ultimate goal. They both want domestic security. They both want a rock-solid foundation.
It's just different approaches.
Exactly. You provide the soft pillows, the warm soup, and the emotional nurturing that makes a house a home. The Capricorn provides the structural integrity, the financial planning, and the strong walls to make sure that home is never threatened. It's a perfectly balanced partnership this week.
So find your Capricorn friend, partner, or coworker and lean on them heavily. Let them help you.
Absolutely.
On the flip side, we have the danger zone. The charts are flashing a huge red warning light over the sign of Aries. Why is Aries the worst match for a Cancer this week?
Aries is a fire sign, and it's ruled by Mars, the planet of war and action. Aries' energy is incredibly fast, highly impulsive, and very aggressive.
They don't slow down.
No. They are the pioneers. They act first, and they figure out the consequences later.
That is the literal opposite of how a Cancer operates. A crab moves sideways. You want to tap a situation with your claws, feel it out, observe it from 3 different angles, and slowly decide if it's safe before you commit.
And Aries hates moving slowly. This aggressive, rushing energy directly threatens your need for peace right now. Aries will place constant, fast-paced demands on you.
Like what?
They will text you in all caps. They will demand an answer right this second. They are too loud, too blunt, and completely lacking in nuance.
Let me present a specific, highly dangerous hypothetical based on what we've discussed. We talked about Sunday, April 5, the Sun square Jupiter. The flash flood day where the Cancer is totally exhausted from overcommitting and saying yes to everyone.
Yes.
Their battery's at 1%. What happens if an Aries walks into the room on April 5 and starts firing off blunt, aggressive demands?
It is a recipe for a complete emotional meltdown. The Aries might say something that they genuinely think is just a casual observation or a joke. Something like, wow, you look terrible today. Why didn't you finish that project?
To an Aries, that's just stating a fact and asking a question.
But to an exhausted, sleep-deprived Cancer with a paper-thin emotional shield, that blunt communication will hit like a sledgehammer. It will feel like a cruel, intentional attack. Your feelings will be deeply wounded.
And when a Cancer is wounded by fire, they shut down completely. The shell closes, the locks engage, and they disappear inside.
You will shut down, and the Aries will get angry that you are ignoring them, creating a massive, unnecessary fight. So, the firm, actionable warning from the charts is this. You must maintain a safe emotional distance from anyone carrying heavy Aries energy this week.
But what does safe emotional distance actually look like in practice? Because you can't always just banish people from your life. What
Yep.
if your manager is an Aries? What if your brother-in-law, who you have to see at a family dinner, is an Aries?
It means you keep your interactions strictly polite, but incredibly shallow. Talk about the weather, talk about a TV show.
Keep it on the surface.
Do not, under any circumstances, start a deep, vulnerable conversation with them. If you're stressed about your family baggage, do not ask an Aries for advice this week.
Because they'll just say, get over it and tell them off,
Mhm.
which is not helpful to a Cancer.
Exactly. And at work, strictly avoid engaging in stressful, tight deadline projects with an Aries if you can help it. If your Aries boss hands you a massive pile of work and barks an order, do not try to explain why you are stressed.
What should you do?
Just nod, smile, take the notes, and go back to your desk to do the work quietly on your own. Do not try to force a collaborative, empathetic connection where the energy simply does not exist right now.
Just smile, wave, and keep walking. Let the Aries fire burn itself out over there while you stay cool, calm, and protected in your silver water over here.
Precisely. Protect your energy reservoir at all costs.
Well, we have covered an immense amount of ground today.
Right.
Let's do a quick recap of the map we've drawn so you can carry these tools with you every day this week. We started in your living room. The Libra full moon is turning on the floodlights, pushing you to empty that heavy backpack of old family hurts. Speak up gently and clear the air so your shell feels safe again.
Then we looked at your social life. Venus moving into Taurus brings reliable friends and a chance for grounded romance. But beware the Venus-Pluto square on April 3. Do not let fear and jealousy turn into passive-aggressive silence. Speak your ugly truths softly.
We talked about the budget. Taurus wants you to spend big on the people you love, but you have to protect your long-term security. And remember the golden rule. Absolutely no lending money to friends or the resentment will ruin the relationship. But keep your resume polished for a potential career door opening on April 5.
At work, use your famous water sign intuition to navigate the stubborn delays on Tuesday. Save your big energy for Friday when Mercury and Jupiter give you the perfect platform to pitch your grand, innovative ideas to the bosses.
And above all, guard your physical health. Establish a calm, screen-free bedtime routine to fight the full moon insomnia. Do not let the flash flood of overcommitting wash you away on April 5. Cook warm meals, take a silver bath, lean on the sturdy mountain of your Capricorn friends, and stay far out of the blast radius of any blunt Aries energy.
If you use these tools and understand the mechanisms behind the planetary shifts, you are going to navigate this complex week with grace and come out much stronger on the other side.
We want to thank you so much for joining us for this deep, detailed look at your stars. It is always a joy to decode the sky with you. Please make sure to subscribe so you get notified the exact moment the next episode is available. We are here every week to help you chart your course.
Before you go, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to chew on. We talked extensively about the people in your life today and how to manage their energy. If Capricorn is your reliable safe harbor this week, and Aries is the chaotic storm you need to avoid, ask yourself a hard question. Are you holding on to certain friendships or relationships that feel like constant draining storms, simply because you have gotten so used to standing in the rain? Are you mistaking chaos for passion? Something to think about as you sit by the water and navigate the week ahead. Thank you for listening to this episode on Horoscope TV.
Take off the backpack, protect your shell, and we will see you next time.